Crow the Dragon's Revenge. In the darkness of the Fujian Mountains, an ebony dragon named Crow reigned supreme, protecting his territory with fury and fire. Crow was feared by all except his only son, a young dragon named Ryu, whose innocence shone like a light in the darkness. Ryu was Crow's pride and joy, and together they soared through the skies, forming an unbreakable bond. One night, while Crow was hunting in the mountains, a tribe of human warriors known as the Hikari invaded his home. Led by their ruthless chieftain Hideo, the Hikari sought the power and glory they believed to be contained in the heart of a dragon. They found Ryu alone, defenseless. Despite his desperate attempts to defend himself, the young dragon was cruelly slaughtered. The warriors ripped out his heart, believing it would grant them strength and immortality. When Crow returned to find his son's lifeless body, his wail echoed across the mountains, awakening ancient curses and bringing a storm of vengeance. The sky darkened, and the earth shook under the weight of his grief. Crow, driven by a rage that burned hotter than his own fire, swore to destroy all those who had taken his son's life. At first light the next day, Crow descended upon the Hikari village like a shadow of death. His black scales glowed with an eerie light as he unleashed destructive flames upon the thatched and wooden houses. Screams of terror echoed as the villagers ran, but there was no escape. The flames consumed everything in their path, reducing the prosperous village to ashes in minutes. Hideo and his warriors tried to fight Crow, but their spears and arrows were useless against the dragon's impenetrable armor. One by one they fell to Crow's overwhelming fury. Hideo, in an act of desperation, brandished the enchanted sword that had been forged from Ryu's heart. But instead of granting power, the sword became the catalyst for his downfall. Crow recognized the familiar glow of his son's soul trapped within the blade. In a fit of rage and grief, he unleashed a jet of fire so intense that the sword melted in Hideo's hands, burning him to the bone. The Hikari chieftain fell dead, and the village, once a place of life and joy, became a burning graveyard. Crow, still in his dragon form, landed amidst the ashes and for the first time since Ryu's death, allowed himself to feel the overwhelming pain of loss. He roared to the sky, his tears evaporating in the heat of his own body. Though he had avenged his son, the victory brought him little solace. The pain of losing Ryu was unbearable, and Crow knew he would never fully recover. For weeks, Crow wandered the mountains, a specter of his former self. Legends of his vengeance spread, and the lands around Fujian were shunned by all. Stories of his grief and rage became warnings to those who dared challenge forces beyond their comprehension. Eventually, Crow disappeared deep into the mountains, where it is believed he found a secluded cave to mourn Ryu forever. Some nights, travelers claimed to hear the distant sound of a dragon crying, a reminder of the destructive power of love and revenge. Thus, the legend of Crow the Ebony Dragon and his vengeance against the Hikari remained, a dark tale of loss and retribution that echoes through the generations. And in the shadows of the mountains, Crow continues to watch, his heart heavy with the memory of his beloved son, while the fire of his vengeance still burns, if only in spirit.